More than 1,000 musicians are releasing a silent album to campaign against the British government's plans to change copyright laws, which could allow tech firms to train artificial intelligence models using real performers' voices. Artists including Annie Lennox, Kate Bush and Andrew Lloyd Webber back the campaign. They say the changes would reverse the principle of copyright law. The 12 tracks on the so-called silent album feature only studio noise in what the performers say music would sound like if their livelihoods are threatened. The British government says the UK's current arrangements for copyright and AI are stopping creative industries from realising their full potential. Ed Newton-Rex organised the album and is also the founder of Fairly Trained, a non-profit that certifies generative AI companies that respect creators' rights. He explained why he's against the proposed legislation.
Well, the problem is that the government has outlined a proposal on how to change copyright law to benefit AI companies. And this proposal would essentially hand the life's work of the UK's creators to AI companies for free to build AI models that would then compete with those creators. And so for, I think, obvious reasons, this is pretty unacceptable to people. The number of, the UK's very well-known creators coming out against the government's plans. I mean, the creative industries and creators around the country are totally unified in their opposition and their shock at these plans. And, it's very hard to find anyone in the creative industries who thinks it's a good idea. In the introduction to the consultation that the government put out and in various things they've said, the government has said there is some uncertainty around copyright law in the UK. That's not the case. Everyone agrees that training in this way is currently illegal in the UK. So really all that's required to protect creators is the government enforcing existing copyright law. The EU AI Act has introduced transparency requirements. They're very easy to implement because ultimately AI companies keep records of, I've worked at AI companies, right? They keep records of what they train on. You have to, otherwise you can't improve your models. And Baroness Kidron introduced some great amendments to the Data Use and Access Bill recently, which would simply make overseas AI companies, if they want to sell their models in the UK, adhere to UK law. So it's very easy to say, show us what your training data is, and you have to license that data as is currently UK law. It's really not tricky. There's a general misconception that perhaps this is legal in the US. The jury is very much out on that. There are more than 30 lawsuits outstanding on this question in the US. It is not definitively legal to train models that are being used every day. And already the first case of its nature on this question the other day, the ruling went against the AI company. So I think it would be very premature for the UK to say, look, let's have this broad copyright exception that favors AI companies, because we're worried other countries are kind of doing the same thing, when actually the US has a very fair and nuanced copyright law. And it makes it clear that AI companies and anyone who wants to copy work has to bear in mind the effect that will have on the work itself and the effect it will have on competition with that work.